Besties, have you ever struggled with people constantly bringing you down? People not believing in your dreams and your successes? And have you ever faced people that are so close to you, like close friends and close family, that just do not support what you want to do and your achievements? I honestly feel like that is so hard to overcome when you become an adult. You aren't given the skill sets at a young age to believe in yourself. It takes someone else to believe in you, to understand what it means to believe in you, right? That's not a skill that you develop on your own. And when you don't have that growing up, when you are constantly brought down, defeated, feeling like you're never good enough, constantly on edge of, oh, maybe I need to be someone else to fit in. Maybe I need to, be this person or wear this or say that or do this to appease the people closest around me. That's when your whole life just becomes a mask. It just becomes a dull version of who you were supposed to be. And I was like that for so long. So long. And I feel, especially for women, that kind of perception, that kind of mentality, it really affects the way we see ourselves, the way we see our bodies, especially the way we move around it, the way we feel comfortable in our own skin, the way we feel accepted in ourselves, and how comfortable we really feel. And for me, I from a young age started feeling so insecure about my body, my legs, my arms. There were so many particular areas around my body that I just started to feel so gross about. I remember so vividly when I was 14 years old. I remember waking up super early in the morning, like 7 a.m. before my parents or before my brother woke up. And this was, I think, on a weekend. And I shut the door and I locked it so that no one could come in. I undressed myself and I took out the weighing scale. I put it on the floor and I turned it on, and I was so scared of what the number would show. And I remember when the number showed that I weighed 45 kilos, I started to bawl my eyes out. I started to cry so profusely because I wanted to be 40, not 45. And looking back, that is insane. Like, looking back, that is absolutely insane. Like, I weigh so much more than that now, which is great because I'm a woman now. But I remember seeing this chart on Tumblr back when Tumblr was super big. There was this chart that matched the height, the age of someone, as well as the weight. So it was all together. It was this categorized way of outlining, what you're supposed to essentially be, what you're supposed to essentially weigh, like the ideal weight. You need to be, to be pretty, to be fuck. And I remember seeing 160 cm, this age, and 40 kilos as like the most ideal weight. And I religiously followed that chart on Tumblr for years, for absolutely so many years. And I would always compare myself, my whole view of who I am, to this fucking chart. Like, it wasn't even about weight anymore. And I think a lot of women can relate to this. It wasn't even about the weight. It was about my values, my sense of self, my confidence, my self-esteem, my self-worth. All of it was tied into this fucking number that someone had created off of a whim, off of God knows what. that they probably thought, yep, this is a healthy way to determine someone's weight according to their age and height. And while on the outside it seems, what harm could it do? There are so many girls and females that are struggling with this, that are just struggling with coming to terms of never feeling good enough because they were never brought up in a family home, surrounded by good friends that would instill these values of self-worth, of self-esteem, of confidence, that they crumble by these charts, by these things online so easily. And for me, that turned into not eating properly for so many years, being scared of eating, being scared of enjoying, fatty, saturated foods once in a while, to really hating my Indian food, my Indian cultural foods that I would sacrifice not eating at home or at parties or at gatherings. I'd always eat less, or I'd always throw away my lunches at school. I'd always be so ashamed with the fact that there was a little bit more oil than maybe the recommended amount. I was so conscious and scared and worried and anxious, and it consumed me. It consumed my whole being. I couldn't focus on other things. I couldn't focus on just being a girl, to having fun, to, trying new things, new hobbies. Like, I couldn't even have space to think about those things. And I think that is what is so scary about women, girls that are brought up in homes that don't teach you what it means to love yourself, that don't, show you unconditional love. For me, growing up, love was always tied to conditions, always tied to whether I was a good girl, whether I was doing this, whether I was doing that. And if I didn't do those things, I wouldn't receive love. And those things affect you so much in fitness, in your work, in your relationships, in life. And for me, the beginning of my fitness journey was so bad. It was so rocky, and it was just so sad. Like, I feel for that little girl that just wanted to be accepted, that just wanted to be like other girls that, looked fit and healthy, and all she wanted to be was someone that she could love. Seeing the way other people loved them, I think that was potentially, now that I'm realizing, maybe that was the purpose and cause behind it. Seeing how valued and how connected and supported they were in their friendships and their families, and then associating that with their weight and with the way they looked. I think for me at that age, I was like, oh, this is what I need to do then. This is what I need to achieve to then achieve that, to then receive that. Receive love, receive support, receive connectedness. And we all know that is not how we receive that. And I have finally come to that point in my life that it doesn't matter anymore. I have been 70 kilos, 75 even. I've also been 50 as well. Weight is just a number. Weight does not determine who you are, your worth, your value. It's about the little things that you do each day that matter so much more. It is about when you fail, when you do not succeed, when you get off track, when, things do not go as planned. For me, yesterday was an absolute shit show at work. I wanted to go home early because I was supposed to from working overtime, and I came back from seeing a client, and I had to write the biggest, fattest email, and it just took so long. and I was so tired. I wanted to do some reading, I wanted to do something, and I just slept. I just slept because I was so tired. And I think that's the whole point in life. Things don't go as planned, but what are you going to do the next day? My whole week this week was an absolute shit show. Wasn't sleeping properly, just wasn't feeling like I was giving my 100% at work. But what did I do today? I showed up at the gym. I showed up in following the habits that I want to do each day. Now, the gym isn't your metric of success. You know, it could be waking up in the morning and making yourself a breakfast and having a slow morning, or it could be, you know, meditating or journaling and really understanding your emotions for the first time, understanding how you feel, taking a moment and really digesting what has happened these past couple days, months, even years. For me, emotional suppression has always been something that I have done. I have always suppressed my emotions because I was never taught or encouraged to process my emotions, to feel my emotions. I was always punished for expressing how I felt. Anger, sadness, anything except for happy was perceived as bad and wrong. And it is just insane how your adult life is really, really shaped from the little things that occur in your day-to-day life as a child, the things that your parents say or do just from passing, that they may not mean in the moment. It affects so much of what goes on in your adult life. So I really, really wanted to touch and highlight on this, that your mental health is so dictated by the way you perceive your body, the way you value it, and what you do with it. Fitness may or may not be a metric for success. A lot of people use fitness as a coping mechanism. I had used fitness as a coping mechanism for so long when I wasn't able to afford therapy. I would go to the gym. I felt this big heavy weight on my chest, and I would go on the treadmill, and I felt like I was fighting the day. Every single day I would go on the treadmill, and I felt like I needed to, like I was just fighting everyone. And fitness isn't everything. It won't fix everything. And it's really, really important to be conscious of, why are you working out? Why are you actually maintaining such strict habits on this? Because sometimes it could be for the worse. It could be avoiding feelings of grief, feelings of a breakup. And while a lot of people would say that's a great way to enter the gym, I would argue it's harmful to keep on going and to keep on using that as fuel to instill healthy habits. The gym should not be a coping mechanism for your pain. It just should be a habit in itself. Just like brushing teeth, just like showering. It will not make things better. It will just alleviate things in the moment. Take your mind off of things. That's what I've realized in the long term. And when I went through that journey of really discovering that I still had an unhealthy mindset to my body, to the way I looked, that was a wake-up call for me. That even though I was doing healthy things on the outside, on the inside, I still had this perception of, I'm never good enough. I still have rolls of fat. Why aren't they going away? I'm gonna make sure that I'm disciplined so that I don't see those fat, so that I don't see those lumps of fat, so that I'm as shredded as possible. That's not a healthy mindset to have. And the gym should not be used for that at all. And it is so important for people to dig deeper than just consuming themselves with healthy habits and not actually unpacking why they're doing things in the way that they are doing it. I have such a better relationship with fitness now that I had done the hardest thing for me is unpacking my emotions, unpacking my deepest fears, and not just using fitness as a way of coping, as a way of avoiding, as a way of self-sabotaging sometimes as well. So I wanted to leave you guys with that, leave you guys with my thoughts. And I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know if you guys have ever felt like this, if you guys have ever resonated with some of the things that I've said. I'd love to know your story, whether you have ever felt like your upbringing has affected you so much in your own life, and maybe not just in the gym, but in other habits or other healthy areas like eating, or other things. So I'd love to know your thoughts and whether this is something you guys resonate with. And hopefully we can both come to a better understanding and a better way of incorporating healthier habits in our lives.